It's draft week, and the Nashville Predators have the 17th pick in the 2022 NHL draft. This year is considered a fairly robust draft class, but who will be left on the board for the Predators when it comes time to make their selection? On today's Locked On Predators podcast, we're going to share with you the Locked On NHL channel's 2022 mock draft selection for the first 16 picks. Who do our Locked On co-hosts think their team is going to select and why? We're going to find out today.
Your Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Predators, and thank you for making us your first listen of the day. I am Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer at ontheforecheck.com, and I am usually joined by my partner in crime, Nick Morgan, but Nick is off today. However, I do have a handful of co-hosts. My Locked On NHL channel counterparts are joining me today, and they are going to share their picks for the first 16 selections in the 2022 Locked On NHL mock draft. Now, the NHL draft begins Thursday night at 6 p.m. Central Time. And again, the Nashville Predators have the 17th pick in the first round. So we're going to listen today to the first 16 selections and see who will be remaining on the board at that point for Nashville to make a selection. There's lots of questions going into this draft, including who will the Canadiens take with their first pick in the draft? Well, let's find out.
This is how championship teams are built. Welcome to the Locked On NHL Lottery Mock Draft. We will have experts from all 16 lottery teams picking for their teams, and you don't want to miss it.
Your Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, I'm Gil Martin, and welcome to the Locked On NHL Lottery Mock Draft. We have got a lot of exciting coverage here today as all 16 lottery teams, the teams that are eager to get this draft started. We've got our local experts picking for all of them, and they're going to tell you why they're making the choices that they're making. The Montreal Canadiens are on the clock, and Scott Matla, the co-host of Locked On Canadiens, is here to start us off and tell us about the first pick in the draft.
Hey there, everyone. It is Scott Matla here from Locked On Canadiens to announce the first overall pick in the Locked On NHL mock draft. And on behalf of my co-host, the active stick, Laura Saba, and myself, we are pleased to select from the Kingston Frontenacs of the Ontario Hockey League, first overall, center Shane Wright. And this was by far the easiest choice. We are not doing the discourse. We are not galaxy braining the first overall pick. We are going with the right choice, no pun and some pun intended here, in that Shane Wright fits everything the Canadiens need right now. They need a centerman for the future. They need a guy who plays in a system that Martin St. Louis preaches behind the bench, and he was the guy from the minute the Canadian season started spiraling out of control. 94 points this season. I know a lot of people are almost unenthused at this, but you know what? Sometimes the safe pick is the right pick. We are so happy to have Shane Wright as a member of the Canadiens now. And if you want to hear us break it down, make sure you're following us at LO_Canadiens. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, follow Laura at The Active Stick, and myself at Scott Matla for all of your Shane Wright content.
What's up? This is Trent Matthews of Locked On Devils, reporting live from the south of France to give you the second overall pick. So, with the second overall pick in the 2022 NHL Locked On mock draft, the New Jersey Devils are proud to select Juraj Slafkovský from Slovakia. It was a no-brainer that the New Jersey Devils would hypothetically draft Slafkovský with the second overall pick. This guy can play a power forward type of position in the NHL. He definitely has some great handles and overall what he was able to do in the Olympic Games and also the World Champions. So first and foremost, in the Olympic Games, he was able to net 7 goals that led the entire Olympic totals. He was able to win Olympic MVP, and he also led the Olympic team in points. And then for the World Champions, when he's playing against other NHL players, he was able to hold his ground and he was able to pick up right where he left off. So overall, Slafkovsky would be a great addition for New Jersey Devils, and I have some insiders telling me that if Slafkovsky were to be paired alongside with someone like Tomas Tatar, you could see a surge in both Tomas Tatar and also Juraj Slafkovsky's game. So overall, Slafkovsky would be a great addition for New Jersey Devils, and he would provide a great amount of offense for years to come. Once again, once he gets to the NHL, you can expect for him to be sort of like a power forward in terms of positioning and also just his overall impact and contribution. And I think this would be a great addition for a New Jersey Devils roster for years to come.
Hey, hockey fans, this is Robin Liani with the Locked On Coyotes podcast with the third pick in the 2022 Locked On NHL Lottery Mock Draft. The Arizona Coyotes are proud to select from the U.S. National Team Development Program Logan Cooley. Cooley, without a doubt, one of the top prospects, one of the most sought-after prospects in this year's draft outside of Shane Wright, of course, and with good reason. He had quite the year with the U.S. program, the U18 program, and with the National Team Development Program in the USHL, posting a combined 111 points in 75 games played. That does not include the World Junior Tournament, the US18 tournament that also took place. But let's also take a look at he is quite formidable with some of his stats on the faceoff, which shows that he can do well at the center position as well, something that could really benefit the Arizona Coyotes, who have been lacking in that position for quite the last few years. So Cooley can easily fit into that and help grow that position as the Coyotes navigate an incredibly difficult position. So once again, Logan Cooley from the U.S. National Team Development Program at third overall, a really well pick for Arizona.
Hey, hockey fans, Erica L. Ayala here, your host of Locked On Kraken. And I am here to let you know that with the number 4 overall pick in the Locked On NHL 2022 mock entry draft, the Seattle Kraken, by way of Locked On Kraken, are going to select 18-year-old defenseman from Slovakia, bronze medalist, comes in as 6'1", 192 pounds. We are taking Simon Nemec. Now, with Nemec, we have, again, an Olympian. We have a player that is not only a top defenseman in the top Slovak league, but he has the highest production for a defenseman under the age of 21 ever in his pro league. 1 goal, 25 assists. So there are goals to come, is the scout for Nemec. He doesn't always need to necessarily be the goal scorer for his teams, although he absolutely can do that. But again, 25 assists, obviously has good hockey sense. And that is, again, the scout. They call it high-end hockey sense. We hear he's an excellent skater. We talked on the show before. I think we need better skating defensemen. So I'm looking forward to that. Can quarterback the power play. Great puck moving defenseman. The scout also says that he's probably a year out from playing in the NHL, which I think is totally fine, given that we have the Coachella Valley Firebirds roster in the AHL to fill. I like that he is someone that says he is better under pressure. You also hear that the scout is that good things happen when Nemec is on the ice. He likens himself to Makar, other former number 1 pick, Erik Karlsson, and Josie, just to name some of the people that he has grown up liking to watch, called Silent but Deadly. And listen, the Seattle Kraken needs some excitement defensively, needs someone that has a high upside as far as being able to be a shutdown defender while also contributing offensively. So we're going with Nemec at number 4. Locked On Flyers, you're on the clock.
With the 5th overall pick, the Locked On Flyers show select David Jiricek, the big Czech defenseman. Both Rachel and I feel like he is the guy that is going to be the selection of the Flyers. If he is there, he's got size. He can be a top pairing defenseman that could help cure some ills down the road. You could start him in the AHL if you like. He could be a destroyer out there physically, but he's a terrific skater. He gets the puck up the ice. He can run a power play. He can do a lot of things, and he's still developing. So this could be a really good pick for the Flyers. It's a pivotal one for them for the next 3 to 4 years, I believe. So that's the selection. We'll see how it goes.
So the top 5 picks have been made, with Shane Wright being the first pick in the Locked On NHL's mock draft. Do you agree with that selection? Do you think he's going to be picked first by the Canadiens on Thursday? We're going to find out how accurate these co-hosts are on Thursday night. And again, the draft begins at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to have picks 6 through 11 coming up. But first, want to let you know that this episode's brought to you by our friends at BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your #1 source for all your betting needs and sports information. You can find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL draft and, of course, Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all of your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Coming up, we're going to have some players from the U.S. National Development Program hear their names called in the Locked On NHL mock draft. Here are picks 6 through 11.
With the 6th pick in the NHL entry draft of 2022, the Columbus Blue Jackets are selecting from the US NTDP Frank Nazar. He is a winger. He is super versatile. He is fast. He is offensive. Is he a little bit of a reach at 6? Maybe, but I think he is perfect for what this Blue Jackets team needs. He is just so exciting. Scouts are saying, he drives plays. He's an offensive dynamo. He's quick, crafty. He's a complete offensive threat. Flashes of creativity. He's a great skater. He doesn't really have any downsides, in my opinion. Fantastic hockey IQ, fantastic player, and I think he's going to look real good on that top Blue Jackets line in a couple of years' time. So that is why this mock draft I'm selecting Frank Nazar from the US NTDP for the 6th overall pick. And you can probably find more. If you want to know more about Frank Nazar, you can listen to or watch the profile that I did on him with Jared Brown of Draft Pro Hockey over on YouTube. It is Locked On Blue Jackets. We're going to do a ton of profiles, and Frank Nazar is one of them. So make sure you check that out.
Ross Levitan here alongside Brandon Pillar. We'd like to thank Locked On for providing us the opportunity to participate in this mock draft. We'd like to thank all of our Send Central citizens who are watching on the Locked On Senators YouTube page. And with that, with the 7th overall selection in the first version of the 2022 mock draft, the Ottawa Senators are proud to select Les Sénateurs d'Ottawa sont fiers de choisir from the United States National Team Development Program, Cutter Gauthier.
Gauthier is the typical power forward, already at 193 pounds, 6'3". Everything about this kid is heavy. He's got a heavy shot. He had 34 goals. He can hit heavy. I think he would fit perfectly in the Ottawa Senators organization.
He also fits the philosophy the United States program has provided the Senators with Brady Tkachuk, Jake Sanderson, and more. 4 players over the past 4 drafts, and he fits the mold of being a guy who can play up and down the lineup, different positions. His flexibility gives the Senators a lot more options down the road.
Well, Scotty, with the 8th selection in the 1.0 version of the Locked On NHL mock draft, Locked On Red Wings selects out of Liga Brad Lambert. Scotty, what do we have to say about this forward? And what did we see that made us take maybe a more controversial pick in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, if you are a Locked On Red Wings listener and have been listening to our draft profiles up to this point, if you're a frequent listener, right? Like, this is somebody that pretty much everybody we've had on, every expert, every analyst, every scout we've had on up to this point in the offseason has drooled over Brad Lambert. And this is a team that needs forward depth. He's played some center. He's played some winger. Let's see what we got in him. We definitely made some friends with the people we've had on for sure.
What I will say to our listeners and people who are watching this mock draft and going, Brad Lambert, hasn't he slipped? Don't let his point totals confuse you. He played for a couple of poor teams over in the Finnish Liga, the JYR and the Pelicans this year. So his point totals didn't meet up, but he has incredible instincts, incredible zone entry skills, and he plays at a very fast pace. And with players around him that can finish on the possibilities he opens up, he is going to be a lethal weapon. So that's why out of the Liga, we take Finnish-born Brad Lambert, center, right wing.
With the 9th pick in the 2022 NHL draft, the Locked On Sabres are proud to mock Joakim Kemell to the Buffalo Sabres, right winger out of Finland with the 9th pick. Don't ask me to pronounce the team name that he played for in Finland, but I think this is a very fun pick for the Sabres or any team that should end up with Kemell. Highly skilled player, a really good shot, great hands, good vision, good speed, just an all-around dynamic offensive player. Why will he fall then to pick 9 if he's such a complete offensive player, if he's the whole package up front? He is only 5'9". There are size questions with this player that I think, especially knowing NHL GMs, the way that we've seen them operate in the past in drafts, that we could see him fall a little bit even further than the 9th pick, but he's commonly ranked in the top 10. TSN's Bob McKenzie is one that had him ranked as high as 3. He falls to the Sabres at 9 in our Locked On NHL mock draft. We'll break that down more on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Follow us at Locked On Sabres on Twitter.
Good evening, I'm JD Hernandez from Locked On Anaheim Ducks. With the 10th selection in the Locked On NHL mock lottery draft, the Anaheim Ducks are proud to select from the Seattle Thunderbirds of the WHL defenseman Kevin Korchinski. This is a quality pick for the Ducks because he brings size, speed, and a deft playmaking ability to the organization. The 6'2" blue liner has drawn comparisons to another former Duck, Shea Theodore. He led all WHL rookies in assists with 61. Also, Korchinski just concluded a stellar WHL playoff run, leading all defensemen in points with 19. That caused his draft stock to rise tremendously, especially with his skating and passing abilities on full display. He's been quoted as saying, "I try to use my skating to get up the ice, create odd man rushes the other way, and just use it all around the ice. Then, just my offensive instincts, whether it's on the power play or just 5-on-5, creating offensive chances." Korchinski just turned 18 on June 21st, and he plans to return to Seattle next season to try and bring a title there. Oh, by the way, just a little known fact. His favorite food is sushi, and with so many fantastic sushi choices in SoCal, he'd feel right at home here.
With the 11th pick in the Locked On NHL mock draft, the San Jose Sharks select Djurgården's forward, Jonathan Lekkerimäki. Lekkerimäki is the perfect fit with William Eklund, as here at Locked On Sharks, I've been trying to find a friend for William Eklund this summer, and Lekkerimäki is that guy. He is one of the best shooters, just pure skill snipers in the entire draft. The Sharks, other than Gushin, don't really have that in their system. The Sharks is a team that have struggled to score goals recently, and Lekkerimäki can help solve that problem. And 26 games in the SHL as a 17-year-old. He scored 7 goals and had 2 assists during that time. And then in 26 games in the on the J20 league, he had 20 goals and 15 assists for 35 points in 26 games. So Lekkerimäki, the pick for the Sharks at number 11. So make sure you guys follow along as we continue our draft coverage and get you guys ready for July 7th draft here at Locked On Sharks.
Coming up, the Columbus Blue Jackets get ready to make their second selection in the first round of the 2022 mock draft. How do you feel about the picks so far? Are any of these top 10 picks surprising to you? We'd love to know your thoughts on how the mock draft goes. You can find us on Twitter at LO_Predators. Coming up, we have picks 12 through 16. Who's going to be left on the board for Nashville with their 17th pick? Let's find.
With the 12th pick in the NHL 2022 entry-level draft, the Columbus Blue Jackets are picking from the Moose Jaw Warriors in the WHL defenseman Denton Mateychuk. Just a real all-round defenseman. 64 points in 65 games this season in the WHL. He is exciting. He's always up in the play. He is a confident, aggressive defenseman. He is that rover-like defenseman that the Blue Jackets love so much. He's going to fit in perfectly on the blue line, and I think he's a really good fit for the Blue Jackets. Do they need more defensive defensemen? Maybe, but I will never turn down more offense from the blue line. With the loss of some of their defensive prospects over the past couple of years, the pool is looking a little thin, and I think a guy like Mateychuk at 12 is the perfect addition to that defense pool. Maybe a couple of years away from being a real difference maker in the NHL. I think he's going to be a kind of a slow development process. I don't think the Blue Jackets should rush him, but I do think he has the potential to be a top pairing defenseman on this Blue Jackets team in 2 to 4 years' time. And if you want to learn more, check out my prospect profile of him over on YouTube for Locked On Blue Jackets. Really exciting kid. Blue Jackets fans are gonna love him.
With the 13th overall selection, the New York Islanders are proud to select Ivan Miroshnichenko from Russia, left wing. Miroshnichenko is the offensive, dynamic type player that the Islanders need. He has good skating ability and an excellent shot. He can make some very highlight reel type plays, and yet he's also got that dynamism that the Islanders seem to be lacking right now offensively. And in 2 or 3 years, he may very well be the kind of goal scorer that the Islanders could easily team with Matthew Barzal. The key is that his health checks out. Recently it did, so hopefully he would be a great addition to the New York Islanders.
Hello, Locked On Winnipeg Jets family. The Winnipeg Jets are proud to select with the 14th overall pick, Denton Mateychuk. We believe Denton is an ideal fit for the Jets because he brings aggression, he brings passing, vision, speed, great skating, a natural offensive instinct. Denton has it all, and he's a blue liner. Obviously, over the past few years, we've seen the Jets defense lack that killer instinct in the offensive zone. We haven't had as much mobility. The passing has been a little bit lackluster. And defensively, we don't have guys who are as good in the neutral zone. We don't have zone clearance specialists. And we don't have people who make really good stretch passes up the ice. Mateychuk might be the answer to a number of these problems. He's not going to fix every single issue with Winnipeg, but if you're looking for a really good, reliable top 4 defender who might actually bring that offensive spark this team desperately needs, we think Mateychuk is an ideal fit here, and we are very excited to welcome him to the Winnipeg Jets family. And you can hear more about him at Locked On Winnipeg Jets as we start nearing the NHL draft. Give us a like, follow, and a subscription on your favorite podcasting platform of choice. And as always, thanks for listening, and go Jets go.
With the 15th overall pick in the Locked On NHL mock draft, the Vancouver Canucks are proud to select from the U.S. National Development Program winger Isaac Howard. And why is this Howard selection a good fit for Vancouver? Simply put, he is a winger who can score a lot of goals. With Brock Besser's contract situation up in the air and potential changes coming to Vancouver under new management, Howard could be the perfect place to replace Brock Besser on the wing. He scored 33 goals in 60 games with the U.S. under-18 team, spent time in the National Development Program, and will play at the University of Minnesota of Duluth come next season. He's not ready yet, but In a few years, I could see Howard sliding right into the Canucks' top 6 alongside the likes of Elias Pettersson, Bo Horvat, Vasily Podkolzin, and Niels Hogan, creating a young nucleus of goal scorers who can lead the Canucks forward for decades to come.
With the 16th pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, Locked On Sabres mocks Rutger McGroarty to the Buffalo Sabres with the 16th overall pick, the pick they acquired in the Jack Eichel trade in the fall. McGroarty, best name in the draft, Rutger McGroarty. That's going to be a popular one for jersey buyers. A great player in the USMN, the United States National Development Program. Just go with that. Great season, 33 points in 25 games in the USHL. Also at the World Junior 18 under 18 tournament, 8 goals in 6 games. He's got good, skilled abilities as a centerman, and that is really the most important part here. One of the best centermen that was left on the board. I could see the Sabres going with McGroarty because two-way game. He's got the goal scoring ability, so a little bit of offensive ceiling. And good size, 6'2" is where he's listed at in most places. The Sabres are very thin down the middle. They've got 3 guys really that you could count on going forward. They've got Tage Thompson, they've got Dylan Cousins, and then expect one of Casey Middlestat, Peyton Krebs, and Rasmus Asplund to become another centerman in the future. But that's kind of it. There's not a lot in the pipeline in the organization. They're very strong in the blue line, very strong in net, and very strong on the wing. McGroarty would add a center. Follow us at Locked On Sabres and check out the Locked On Sabres podcast for more on Rutger McGroarty and who the Sabres could pick with the 16th overall selection.
So there it is, the 2022 Locked On NHL channel's mock draft. The top 16 players selected by our co-hosts across the Locked On NHL channel. So who does this leave on the board for Nashville at selection 17? And what is Nashville likely to do with that pick come Thursday night? We're going to talk about all of that on tomorrow's Locked On Predators episode. Until then, I am Ann Kimmel. You can find my work at ontheforecheck.com. You can find me on Twitter at AnnK_Mama on Ice. And you can find the podcast on Twitter at LO_Predators. Of course, you can check us out on YouTube as well. Like, subscribe, share, and of course, leave a comment. We would love to know your thoughts on what you think the Predators should do with the 17th pick on Thursday night in the draft. It's going to be a very interesting conversation tomorrow. Thank you for making Locked On Predators your first listen of the day. We'll be back tomorrow with more draft talk. We'll see you then.